Hey everybody, my name is Becky and I'm with A Better Way to Homeschool and I am an archer. And when I first started my homeschool journey, my husband sat me down and he said, Becky, what are your master homeschool goals for our kids? And I'm so thankful for him because right from the very beginning, we together established where do we want our kids to be when they graduate from high school. And I wanted to walk you through master homeschool goals. This is super important because teaching your kids has nothing to do with what page number they're on or what curriculum you use. Filter everything that you do through your master homeschool goals. And if you don't have them, go make yourself a cup of something yummy and think about it. What is it that I want my kids to do by the time they graduate high school? This red target is different for everybody. However, it's the same for everybody too. That center goal that we're shooting as homeschoolers is the core of our kids. And for us at our home, that means sharing our faith with our kids. So this is the core, family values. This goes in the middle. So I'm going to use the word faith because for me and my husband, that's the absolute most important thing that we share with our kids before they graduate high school. So mama, aim true and go for the bullseye. The bullseye is that center core. And we talked about it in the last video last week about how we focus on the heart of homeschooling, right? So if you haven't watched that video, I'm going to encourage you to go watch that video because that is the heart of homeschooling. So you aim for the center, you focus on heart, character, and attitude, and you filter in your family beliefs in there. That's the core of homeschooling. The next master goal in homeschool is I'm going to put basic math. Basic math facts. I'll put facts. I have 5 kids. One of them is a mathematician brain. 1 out of 5. That's why God invented college and calculus professors, because I'm not one of those people. Basic math facts for our kids means that by the time they graduate high school, they are fluent in their math facts. They can add, they can subtract, they can multiply, they can divide. They can deal with fractions, decimals, percentages, units of measure, and critical thinking. So basic math facts. Some of you, like me, will raise up a mathematician into your home. And like me, if you're not a mathematician, you may feel ill-equipped to deal with that level of math. Don't worry, there's a ton of YouTube videos and tutors online and tutors that you can send them to in schools that you can educate them up in those higher things of math. However, I think that all kids benefit from having that concrete, solid math. They need to know when they go to the grocery store whether this can of beans or that can of beans is a better deal by comparing the ounces and dollars, right? So faith, basic math facts. The next master homeschool goal in our household is that I'm going to use the word marinate. Oh, if you have a Costco near you, Costco's a big club store. Right now, go look for their carne asada. I no longer live in San Diego where they have the best carne asada meat that I've ever tasted. However, at Costco, there's this yellow packaged meat. It's about $6-7.99 a pound, something like that. And it's pre-marinated carne asada. And the meat is so good. And so you grill that and then you add pico de gallo, which is onions and tomato and cilantro and lime and salt. And then tortillas, so good because the meat is marinated. It's key. Best meat I ever had camping was meat that I had pre-marinated. And then as it defrosted, it was delicious. The same thing goes with our kids. What do we want to marinate our kids in? Books, mama, books. if you did nothing else with your kids but share their faith, get them to be rock solid on their math facts, and read different kinds of stories to them every day, no matter how old they are. If they're taller than you, that's awesome. If they're shorter than you, that's awesome. Marinate your kids in different kinds of story. Fall in love with the characters in the story. You marinate them in excellent literature, and it seeps in not only into their imagination, but it seeps into their soul too. You can deal with some really hard life issues because a character in a story dealt with a hard issue, and you can talk about it kind of sideways with your kids, and it's beautiful. So you share your faith, you get them to be rock solid in their basic math facts, and you marinate your kids in excellent literature. This is where you start, and it goes out. This book marinating never goes away. Never goes away. Never stop reading to and with your kids. Never stop discussing excellent literature and learning books and talking about the rise and fall of plot and journey and stories and characters. Stories. Hey, if Jesus could talk like 60% of the time or more in story, it's good enough for me. Okay, so marinate in excellent literature. This last major goal is something that you got to remember. This is by the time they graduate high school. This one is that they become masters of communication. So I'm going to put communication masters of communication by the time they graduate high school. And this includes writing, and I'm going to put the word oral as in speech. Your kids should be able to stand in front of a crowd, 2, 3, 5, 12 people, and not die when they are sharing their opinion about a topic, something that they discovered, something they read, something they're learning. They should be able to articulate, project their voice, and not have an abundance of filler words like and ah and oh. Okay, by the time they graduate high school. Excellence in oral communication. This one in writing, this one I'm going to do another thing probably next week on writing. The core of writing is not how to write an excellent sentence. It's not how to write an excellent paragraph. It's not even how to write a 3, 5, 7 paragraph essay with a hook, a thesis statement, a body, and a conclusion where you restate the thesis statement. That's not writing. Writing is all about communicating. And from the time that your kids are little, you start talking to them about the power of communication, both the written word and the spoken word, and that the key to writing is to know your audience. Who are you speaking to? Who are you communicating with? What kind of language do you need to use for that audience? So that is a key in communication. And mama, that's it. This is homeschool in an archery target with a lady without feet. So let me put feet on her because you got to have your feet solid on the ground. Okay. When you are aiming at what to teach your children, go for the heart first. If you have to throw everything else away, don't sacrifice this one. Whatever your solid family core values are, you start there. You deal with the heart first, the attitude first, the character first. Those are the building blocks so that as they get to be hormonal and teenagers and getting ready to launch into this crazy world, they have a rock solid foundation to stand upon. So you start with the heart. Okay, then you make sure they know their math facts. Now, in that I can teach my child benchmark thing that I just posted, you're going to see that there are not a lot of things that your kids need to know mathematically before they graduate high school. And I'm guessing that as you look through the benchmarks, you're going to say things like, oh, they already know how to do that. And I know how to do that. And you can quickly start marking off the things that you don't need to spend time teaching your kids anymore. And you can focus in on those basic fundamental math things. Don't push your kids through calculus just because they can. Make sure that they want to be a mathematician, because that chunkier math gets tricky. And if you're pushing your child too fast through math because they can, in 8th grade, when they get stuck, you might not be able to help them with confidence. So I kind of have done both. We pushed our oldest son through math because he could do math. And he got boxed in high school where he had to take calculus. But he's not a mathematician, and he hated it. And he had migraines and headaches and anxiety in high school because we pushed him too far. All the other kids, we grabbed and we held back with math, and we stayed right here in basic math facts. Except for our one mathematician brain. That child wanted to prove that Pythagorean was correct. He wanted to know why the quadratic equation was invented and what's its purpose. He always needed to know the why. And he was never satisfied with, because it's what the book says. That's the answer. But why? So basic math facts. Don't push them too fast just because they can. Marinate them in excellent literature. Oh, there's a lot of junk out there, but there's so many amazing, wonderful stories. And leave them hanging in books. If they don't like to read, that's okay. Just read aloud while they're eating. Require that they sit at the table and they listen while you read aloud. And then as they're chewing and they get hooked into the book, make sure you close it at a climactic, exciting cliffhanger part, and then just leave the book. Oh, we'll pick that up tomorrow, and do that every day. Just read, marinate excellent literature, and expose them to things that they wouldn't read on their own. Poetry and song lyrics and plays and fiction and nonfiction. Dive into something that they're super excited to learn about. If you're watching monarch butterflies hatch and spin and transform, dig into monarch butterflies or whatever it is that you're studying or what has their attention at home. Just dig deep and marinate. What does it mean to marinate? It means to sit in and soak and to let it absorb deep into who you are. Let it permeate into you. My youngest son didn't read till he was 10. 10! But he has the highest reading comprehension in the house. He has the most amazing vocabulary, and he is one of, if not the most talented writers. He can bring you to tears like this because we marinated in him in literature. We didn't make him read. We shared story together. We fell in love with this journey and that challenge and this victory and that defeat together. We grab new words like phantasmagoric or any of these fun words that hit my ears and stick and stay. Marinate. And then communication. The entire time you are teaching your children to write and to communicate, you repeat things like, well, what is the purpose of this thing that we're doing? We're writing a letter to grandma. We're making a card for your sister. We're writing a story for the neighbor down the street. You are writing this for me, whatever the purpose is of the writing. Then they nail their audience. Who is their audience? How are they going to receive it? And then they customize and tailor that. Don't be afraid to hold the pen for your kids and be their personal secretary. Writing doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be fancy, but it does need to communicate clear messages. So does that make sense? Master homeschool goals. I've been homeschooling a very long time. And I can't tell you how many homeschoolers don't know what their goals are. They think their goal is second grade math or kindergarten science or seventh grade. Those aren't goals. Those are things that you use. They're tools. It's like saying that you're going to build a house. That's the goal. But your goal isn't the hammer or the screwdriver. Those are things that you use to build your house. Well, you're building your children. And the tools that you'll use are all around you. Experience and story and adventure and fellowship and food and music and art. Oh, and a textbook here and there. So make sure that you have your master homeschool goals nailed. These will guide you with everything. Now you can pick up anything. You can pick up anything and you can say, does this fit in my homeschool agenda? Oh, yes, it does, because this helps build character. So you can filter everything that you do. And as long as it lands somewhere on your target, then you can have confidence in it. But no math page, no science book, no writing assignment is going to make or break your kids. It's just not. But if you focus on these things at the end of your journey, as you watch them graduate and you hand them their diploma and they go off into their life, you're going to have this swelled chest of unbelievable thankfulness and just peace, knowing that you nailed it. You nailed it. So that's it. Becky with the Better Way to Homeschool. Yes, I'm in fact a real live archer. I have the best bow in the house, and I'm not afraid to say that I can hit this sometimes. It's really, really cool. Master homeschool goals. If you're married, do this together. Make sure that you and your husband or your spouse, whichever side is watching, make sure that you're on the same page, because this is super important. It's really important to know that as you're building character, that your partner is not dictating something, wrong word, but expecting page 47 and missing the target. Make sure that you sync, okay? Get a cup of coffee together, go on a date, go for a walk, sit in the living room or wherever, and get this nailed down. This, you can steal mine and my husband's master goals because they've served us well. All of our kids are amazing and they're fantastic because this is our target. So you can use this as a starting point, but you can also totally create your own goals as well. I just want you to know what you're looking for. Master homeschool goals have nothing to do with curriculum. So if you have questions, let me know. Grab your I Can Homeschool My Kids benchmark, and I'll see you later. Bye.